How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is wrapping up its holiday sale. We've done a ton of videos. This is probably gonna be the final one. I'm sure at this point you guys are getting pretty sick and tired of it, and come next week, these deals will be rotating out, but you guys know how the PlayStation Store works. There will be new sales running, so don't you fret about that. No budget, price under, or anything like that in this video. We're just gonna be looking at some of the deals available. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. So let's get right into it and kick things off with a couple of bundles that are available. We have the Assassin's Creed Triple Pack, which has Black Flag, Unity, and Syndicate, and I'll throw in another Ubisoft bundle. The Far Cry Anthology bundle is 75% off for $37.49. That includes Far Cry 3, 4, 5, and 6. With these bundles, you have to be aware of the fact that these are the base games for each respective game. It would be really nice if it was the Black Flag Gold Edition, Syndicate Gold Edition, etc., etc., but that is not the case. And you kind of just have to deal with it, and you know, the base games still offer a lot to like. Obviously with AC4, that's one of the games that I constantly talk about. I feel like the majority of you guys have played it. Syndicate is great, and Unity, while it was atrocious when it came out from a bugs, glitches, and performance standpoint, from what I hear, it's a lot better now. That's one that I definitely have to do another playthrough of here soon. Probably not soon given the calendar of games coming out, but eventually I'll definitely do another playthrough of Unity. Nonetheless, $22.49 for that's pretty good. And then the Far Cry bundle is quite good as well. FC 3, 4, 5, and 6. $37.49 may seem a little pricey, especially with the base games on all of these. It's unfortunate that Far Cry 3's Classic Edition is kind of a joke of a Classic Edition, or I should say a port. It's not really upgraded much, hence the terminology of Classic Edition, but, you know, FC 3 is fantastic. FC 4, 5, and 6, pretty good games as well. Then it's Far Cry. At this point, maybe it's gotten a little bit stale. I feel like a lot of people find the Ubisoft open world formula a little stale, but they still offer content to like, and I think it's a pretty decent pickup at that price. Next up, another game collection, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, is 50% off for $29.99. If you've been following our channel for any extended period of time, you know that I was very excited for the Battle Network Legacy Collection. Excited would probably be putting it a little bit lightly, given that I grew up with these games, so obviously there's a lot of nostalgia tied to it as well. This includes Battle Networks 1 through 6 and 3, 4, 5, and 6. Obviously, you get each version of those games, which is pretty cool. After Battle Network 3, starting with Battle Network 3, actually, they did the Pokemon gimmick of having two different versions, and it's nice to have both of those. In totality, you're getting like 10 games here, so that's quite good. The thing is, with the Battle Network Legacy Collection, obviously, most people are going to start off with Battle Network 1. That's just the common sense thing to do. It should be noted that Battle Network 1 absolutely shows its age and isn't the greatest game to go into, at least not these days. Battle Network 2 is really where they start building upon Battle Network 1's successes, and it becomes a much better franchise following Battle Network 2, at least in my opinion. BN1 is still worth playing, but definitely shows its age. And you're talking about, you know, 2002 Game Boy Advance games. Obviously, they're going to show their age. But you're getting a lot of titles here for 30 bucks, and I would say it's a pretty damn good pickup. Next up, we have Gran Turismo 7, 43% off for $39.89. One of those PlayStation first-party titles that has not dropped on PlayStation Plus Extra yet. At least, you know, one of those games from early 2022. They did drop Horizon Forbidden West on Plus Extra, Ratchet's on Plus Extra, GT7 still not on Plus Extra, so obviously buying the game is your only option at this point. Solid soundtrack in the game. Visuals are excellent, and if you're looking for a racing sim, this is a pretty good one. I'm not getting into racing sims like super heavy these days and getting super into them, but GT7 was a fun time, and I would certainly give it a recommendation. Next up, ahead of the release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you should certainly play Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and it is 40% off for $29.99. If you're a Plus Premium subscriber, you can check out the 2-hour full game trial, which, you know, I guess is fine. I really think they should add this game to PlayStation Plus Extra this month, and I could potentially see it being added to Plus Extra, so keep that in mind. It's a Square Enix game. Square Enix and Sony have a good working relationship ahead of the release of FF7 Rebirth. That just makes a ton of sense, but you know, if you want to buy the game to own it. Crisis Core is a great game. It's just, at the end of the day, it is a PSP game. It's a little bit on the shorter side, especially when you're talking about Final Fantasy games. Like, you can legit complete this game in less than 15 hours, but still, it's the story of Zack, and Zack is going to be pretty important in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, so obviously a good time to check that out. Next up, we have AI the Somnium Files nirvanA Initiative, 60% off for $24. Now, this is the sequel to AI the Somnium Files, and obviously go play that game. I actually don't think nirvanA Initiative is as strong of a game, but it's still fairly good. It's just, and when you have Kaname at the helm of the first title, that's gonna make it a little bit more engaging. I don't know, he's a great character, but nirvanA Initiative still has a lot of good twists and turns, and I think the IP as a whole is pretty unique and pretty engaging. $24 is a little pricey for a visual novel, but I think it's pretty good, and I would give it a shout. Next up, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition is $39.89. Look, if you're one of the 4 people on our channel that doesn't own this, you definitely should, given that this includes Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered, and both those titles are quite good, and essential games that you should have on your PlayStation 5. Spider-Man Remastered is really good as well, and the fact that they re-released it as a standalone product for $50 is kind of wild, but here you got Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered for $40, and I think that's quite good. You know, with Spider-Man 2018, I could definitely say the MJ sections were absolutely atrocious, and there were some shortcomings. Miles Morales, I think, is a good game all around, just super, super short. But yeah, $39.89 for both, pretty good there. Next up, we got Soul Hackers 2 Digital Deluxe Edition, 70% off for $21. This includes the base game as well as the bonus story arc in the Lost Numbers. $21 for that is pretty damn good. I really enjoyed Soul Hackers 2 as a JRPG. I thought it had an excellent main character in Ringo, really one of the better JRPG main characters that I've seen in a while. Soundtrack was excellent. Just go look up that boss battle theme. Chef's kiss on that one. Just a great track. And yes, it does have some shortcomings. I think some of the dungeon design is very, very questionable, and, you know, it's not all bad, for sure, but just a couple dungeons were really, really grating, but overall, quality game, $21 here, I think is pretty good. Next up, we have Tetris Effect Connected, 25% off for $29.99. Now, this is the PS5 version of the game, which is $10 more expensive than the PS4 version, which is a little bit of a bummer, but what can you do? It's a great puzzle game. It has an awesome visual style, awesome soundtrack. I mean, you can look up the theme for this as well, and be blown away by that, and then immediately pick up the game. So, certainly, if you want a chill kickback game, Tetris Effect is a pretty good one. Next up, we have Ys 9 Monstrum Nox, still holding up in price. I mean, these NIS titles seemingly do for a while. It's 30% off for $35. Obviously, with Ys, you don't have to play all the games to understand the story or get into the games. It would be too daunting of a task. Although, I say it'd be too daunting of a task, and then I recommend, you know, the RGG titles. I recommend Legend of Heroes all the time. Ys is really good. Monstrum Nox does have a little bit of a darker tone going on for it as well, and that's a pretty interesting take as far as Ys as a whole. Story is good, and the gameplay, obviously, as the Ys title is excellent. Soundtrack is awesome as well. You can always expect that out of Ys as well. $35 is certainly pricey, but still a pretty good pickup. Next up, we have Tactics Ogre Reborn, a classic Square Enix JRPG, tactics-based JRPG. Incredibly, incredibly challenging. Definitely not for everyone, but a game that I really enjoyed. From a story standpoint, it's unique, just brutally challenging. Like, if the challenge is something you're not prepared for, you will probably be put off by the game, so just know that going into it. You might have to look up some guides or some strategy tips or things of that nature, but $25 for Tactics Ogre I think is pretty good. And lastly, New Tales from the Borderlands Deluxe Edition is $25. This includes Tales from the Borderlands as well. That's really the main reason I'm recommending it, because that essentially brings the price of this down to like $10 when you factor in Tales from the Borderlands has been going for $15. New Tales from the Borderlands is fine, but Tales from the Borderlands is really where it's at from a comedy standpoint. I thought it was really strong there, but that'll do it for me. Again, probably the final video covering the holiday sale. It's been a good ride, and you guys have been watching these videos, and they've been doing fairly well, but we've kind of covered everything we could at this point. Actually, that's not even true. There's still more stuff to cover, but I think I'm tapping out from this one. But that's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.